What's going on, y'all? Harry from Harry the Horse Barbecue here, and in this one, I am not horsing around with these beef cheek barbacoa tacos. We're gonna season up and smoke off some high quality beef cheeks until they build some amazing smoke flavor and that deep, dark Texas style bark, make our own homemade Wagyu beef tallow flour tortillas, and then we'll pair them together for the ultimate barbacoa style taco. Looking for tacos that are not horsing around? Well, let's get it.
Harry the Horse Barbecue.
Peep the new merch. Just like these tacos, this merch ain't horsing around, but I'm ready to finally knock out my first taco video on this channel. And barbacoa can start with any kind of meat you like, but in this case, we're starting with beef cheeks. So let's go grab them. These be some beef cheeks. So enough horsing around, let's get them out of the pack. But before we do, we gotta make a simple rub for these cheeks. 1 part 16 mesh black pepper, 1 part diamond crystal kosher salt, 50-50 there because we are gonna throw those cheeks into a confit bath, which could dilute the salt a little bit. 1/2 part of granulated garlic, and then to amp it up and to pay homage to those Mexican roots of barbacoa, going in with some ancho chili powder. Give it a mix around. Oh, spill it all over the board. I'll cap it instead, and then mix it. Very simple. Now let's get those beef cheeks. This one's actually 2. And those beef cheeks look great. I haven't had beef cheeks in a minute. I mean, these cheeks are looking beautiful. Just look at that fat running through there. That marbling looks great. This one's a little scraggly, got a little extra fat on there. Not thrilled with that, but it's all getting shredded up during this cook anyway for tacos. Now, barbacoa in Spanish literally translates to the word barbecue, and it's got a lot of different roots. It officially became popular in Mexican cuisine, and barbacoa usually involves cuts like lamb or goat or beef, and it's usually the tougher cuts. Barbacoa eventually evolved into the style of cooking where they cook this meat in a pit in the ground, and the pit was covered with either agave leaves or banana leaves, and that style of cooking translates really well to modern Texas style barbecue, because we're keeping the meat far away enough from the fire where it's not gonna burn up or crisp up or cook way too quickly. As barbacoa made its way over to the United States, we started to utilize cuts like beef cheeks, chuck roasts, and even a multitude of different cuts of beef to replicate barbacoa. You've got that low and slow smoke going on. The amount of time it takes to cook these really adds to the tenderness value, and you want to use something with a lot of fat, and beef cheeks or beef cheek meat tends to usually come with a lot of scraggly fat bits that you can incorporate into this recipe. But in this case, because our beef cheeks are trimmed already, we are going to be throwing these into a Wagyu beef tallow confit to finish them out, which will add to the fattiness that we need in this dish. So we're just trying to get a nice heavy seasoning on these. Really want to bark up these beef cheeks, just like they would do over at Leroy and Lewis or any place that's serving beef cheeks nowadays. Now, when you're seasoning your meat for barbacoa, it's meant to be these big, bold flavors that stand out, but we are mixing it with Texas style barbecue today, which is why our seasoning is pretty traditional when it comes to Texas style barbecue. But traditionally, dried chilies like guajillo and ancho chili peppers are used in these recipes when making a marinade, which is why we added the ancho chili powder to this dish, because we want to kind of replicate just a little bit those traditional flavor profiles. But of course, we're sticking to Texas roots, and one little bit left. Boom. Nailed it. These cheeks look beautifully seasoned, and they're smelling so good from that rub. You can really pick up that ancho chili powder, and we know we're gonna get great bark and great salt penetration in these cheeks. They're looking ready for the cooker, so let's go fire up the cooker. Couple of snake nests. That'll do. Sweet. All right, y'all, cooker's on its way up to about 225, 250 to start this cook, and it's raining pretty substantially, but I don't mind cooking in the rain. That's not bad for me. Cooking in the wind, that blows. Get it? Like the wind blows. Anywho, let's get these cheeks on so we can give everyone something to taco about. 2 really bad jokes anyway. Okay, up and under. Ooh. And these cheeks can go on in any orientation and any part of the cooker you want. I'm going with the smooth side of these beef cheeks facing upwards, just to create a nice little presentation on them. And the bigger ones towards the back, and the small scraggly one closer to the door. I know it's a little bit cooler there. And these beef cheeks for this barbacoa are gonna rock out in the middle back of the cooker. The goal is to build a ton of smoke flavor, build that really dark brisket-like bark, and we're gonna cook them about 90% of the way and then throw them in a Wagyu beef tallow confit. I've got the damper to the smokestack about 1/3 of the way closed, and our fire is gonna be rocking 225 to 250 for the majority of this cook. I'll bring y'all back when they're barked up, but until then, I gotta get out of the rain and close it down. Boom, new shirt, new merch, shakalaka. All All right, y'all, we're about 5 hours into smoking these beef cheeks. It's still raining out here, been raining all day. So I've just been running in and out, just throwing logs on the fire, taking a quick peek at these cheeks whenever I get a chance. So I know at this point we put some good smoke on these cheeks. Let's check them out, maybe give them a spritz, and then hopefully soon we'll throw them in a beef tallow bath. Let's check it out. Just a wee bit over 250, but I can smell them cheeks. Up and under, ooh. That's the bark we're looking for on these cheeks. Take a look at this one. Dang, is that straight out of Leroy and Lewis? It's so smoky in here. Smoke is getting in my eyes, but dang. A little crispy bit right here that I forgot to take off there. And 5 hours in, I'm loving the way these cheeks are looking. Some of the main things you want in a good cheek is you want it to be round, firm, plumped up. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't want these to be firm, but at this stage they are. But you can see that these cheeks have taken on a ton of great smoke flavor. Just look at that little pocket that's opening up. Tons of smoke in there. That bark is legit, but good Lord. I mean, that is just a sight to behold. Some may say it's even not horsing around. And even though we're gonna be dunking these cheeks into a bath of Wagyu beef tallow, at this stage I'm still gonna soften them up a little bit with a little bit of apple cider vinegar, just to help soften up some of those edges. And a little moisturization at this point in the cook is not gonna hurt anything. Looking glossed up and bossed up, but in case you're curious at home, in one of our thicker cheeks, just under 170. I wanna get these up to at least 185-ish or so, but at this stage they're looking good. So all we're gonna do is close this down. And I'm just gonna let these cheeks continue to cook for about the next hour and a half to 2 hours, and then I'll meet y'all back inside when we confit these bad mama jammas. So if you've been cooking beef cheeks with me for the last 6 hours almost, make sure you hit that subscribe button and throw a like on this video, and I'll meet y'all back for some tacos. See y'all in a little bit. All right, and after about 7 hours in the smoke, these cheeks are looking pretty darn sweet. Not looking too different from the last time y'all saw these. They barked up beautifully. They got that really dark brisket-like bark, but these cheeks are stiff, which means they still need to continue to cook. Pulled these off when they hit an internal of about 180 degrees, which means we still have to cook them the rest of the way through, but the best way to do that for beef cheeks is to put them in a Wagyu beef tallow confit. But I've got the Chicago stuff, so all we're gonna do, swap out this tray for this Teflon non-stick bread pan, and we're just gonna drop our cheeks in. And I don't think I can stack all 4 of them in here, so I've got a couple of these aluminum trays that are gonna serve as backup. Yeah. Now these don't need to be swimming in tallow in order for the confit to work. I'm pretty sure I proved that in my Weber kettle beef cheek video, but I bought this jar entirely for this process. So I think we're gonna go down with pretty much all of it, all the way down to the last scoop, and there you have it. Now we're just gonna wrap these up tight. But for now, these are going to be chucked into my oven at about 200 degrees for a low and slow confit. 200 degrees is gonna make sure that these beef cheeks don't overcook, even though we're gonna shred them after this anyway, but we just wanna ensure that they're gonna be cooked to perfection. So off these go to my oven, and now off I go to watch the Knicks. See y'all in the AM. Go New York, go New York, go. All right, our beef cheeks have been resting overnight, and I've got a cheesecake in the oven in case you guys were wondering what's for dessert after these tacos. But now we're about to make the most important component to a taco, which is the tortilla. And making your own homemade tortillas is only gonna elevate these tacos to the not horsing around level. So let's make some Wagyu beef tallow flour tortillas, which starts with some bread flour, then some kosher salt, some baking powder to get that puff. And I'm just gonna cut that in first. Now we're going in with the Wagyu beef tallow. This stuff is from South Chicago Packing, and we'll cut that in as well. Any leftovers you could put on your skin for a nice moisturizer. And now we're gonna stream in some warm water that's sitting at about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And just let it keep going until the dough comes together. We have to try to turn this out because it's looking a little sticky. All right, I'm gonna see if this dough will come together without adding any extra flour to it. It's a couple slap and folds. Looks like it's doing a good job. And that's looking like a pretty solid ball of tortilla dough, if I do say so myself. Now, break out the scale and the bench scraper, and I think I'm gonna go for 35-gram dough balls. 35, because I think what I'm gonna go for is kind of little like street tacos. I don't want like massive, like burrito-sized tortillas. Give it a roll around on the ground. Well, that looked a little tiny, so I'm gonna try for some 40-gram dough balls. And looking like a cute little tortilla ball, let's knock out the rest. All right, and that's about as many tortillas as this thing can hold. So we gotta let these rest. So we'll say night-night to these tortillas. And we're gonna let these rest for about 45 minutes to an hour. That rest is gonna allow the gluten to relax. And when we press these out into tortillas, they're not gonna actually like shrink back into a small shape. They're gonna retain their shape, which is gonna give us some perfect tortillas for these tacos. But in the meantime, we still got a few more accompaniments to knock out, starting with some pickled red onions. So let's get that going. To our pot, we're going in with 1.5 cups of water and 1.5 cups of white vinegar, 2 tablespoons kosher salt, and 4 tablespoons of white sugar. Sounds like a lot of sugar, but honestly, it works really well. We're gonna throw this onto the heat until the sugar and salt dissolve, and this should be boiling because it's gonna help quick pickle these onions. Speaking of our onion, we're gonna give this one a bit of a rough chop. Sweet, hot brine coming in, don't spill it. Uh-oh, spilling way too much of it, sick. Oh gosh, one more drop? Okay, all right, all right. And there you have some beautifully pickled red onions. I love when the color changes almost instantly. Cap it, and that's gonna be a perfect complement to these tacos. Let's chop up a few more toppings. Some white onion. All I know is ogres are like onions because they have layers. Oh God, I'm not crying. I'm not crying. I'm not crying. White onion is done. Lime time. Just some easy wedges here. And we gotta have cilantro, but I'm just gonna kind of chop off a little bit of this. All right, we've got our beef cheeks done, our toppings are done, and our tortillas just need to be pressed out and cooked. So I think it's time to press them out with a new tool that I got. So this is a cast iron tortilla press that I got from my mom, courtesy of my grandma, and I'm hoping I can utilize this press to crank out some perfectly circular flour tortillas for these tacos. And I'm hoping this cast iron structure doesn't allow these tortillas to stick. Ball down, close the lid, press her down. That didn't work. It almost worked. Just seems like these are gonna require a double press just to even them out because they're definitely not pressing out even. After one more press, it's looking a little bit bigger. I'm gonna chuck this bad boy onto the plancha. Our first mini tortilla. Not too shabby, just a little tiny. And we'll come through with our next one. These flour tortillas are hot, but they're coming out. Owie, straight into the tortilla warmer. And while I continue to cook off these tortillas, we can start to pull these beef cheeks straight out of the confit. Look at that. That is a thing of beauty. And it should just, did you guys see that? Man, that just shreds. Oh man. Oh my gosh, it's so fatty, it's so rich. I'm just gonna shred these beef cheeks by hand. This is just too easy. You don't need much more than this. That is the perfect texture for barbacoa, in my opinion. You see this beautiful beef cheek? Oh, yeah. That's the stuff right there. Oh my gosh. I gotta get a little taste test of what's going on here because it just looks ridiculous. There we go. Dude, man, that is good. Let's finally assemble some tacos. 3 tortillas down because these are for Perry and she says she's really hungry. Down with a little barbacoa right down the center there. These are little street taco guys. They're cute. I almost forgot the queso fresco. A little bit of fresh diced white onion. Some cute hand-picked cilantro leaves right down the center. Couple of little pickled red onions. A little libode. Little queso fresco. That is purdy. A squeezer of some Mexican crema over the top. Maybe if I centered it, it would look better in its presentation. And then just a couple drops of Cholula. Oopsie daisies. And I present to you the HTH Barbacoa Taco. That is beautiful. Let's make a few more. All right, let's make a couple for myself now because I am hungry. And the procedure's no different except for maybe a little bit more meat. 2 scoops cheddar, 1 scoop onion, my friend. Cilantro. These beautiful pickled red onions. Queso fresco right over the top. Zigzagger of crema, little Cholula, and some lime. Yeah, this HTH taco is going to rule. I'm not even gonna make the next taco because I'm so hungry I have to try this. This looks phenomenal. What in the actual world just happened to my taste buds? This is unbelievable. Look at that cross section. Dude, this is so freaking good. And it is unbelievably flavorful. Good thing I have so many tortillas on hand where I can just keep on making these and knocking them out. Just check another look at this taco. There you go, look at that thing of beauty. The real key to those tortillas is steaming them out in the tortilla holder, warmer, whatever it's called. But you know these are so good that I just can't stop. So I'm going in for another bite. Taco Tuesday on a Sunday. First thing you get is that beef fat flour tortilla. Tons of beef fat right in your face. They're chewy, they're soft. Next comes all that smokiness from that barbacoa or that beef cheek. Super fatty, super unctuous, so rich and tender. The bite from the fresh onion mixed with the pickly, acidic nature of the pickled red onion plays so well together. Cilantro brings freshness. The crema kind of cools it down, makes it a little creamy, but that Cholula also spices it up a little bit. I mean, this taco has salt, fat, acid, and heat, and it's got a variety of textures. There's crunch in there, there's chew, there's soft unctuousness from the beef cheek. This is just an ultimate taco, and I can smash so many of these. Everything's scratch made, so you know this taco's not horsing around. So I don't know what else to tell y'all except for stop horsing around and make this already. Thank y'all for tuning into Harry the Horse Barbecue. I really appreciate you checking out this video. Make sure you subscribe for the vibes, hit that like for some tacos, and leave a comment down below with the next taco I should be making. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I'm posting new content, and you can follow me on Instagram at Harry the Horse Barbecue. Tag me so I can see what y'all are cooking because y'all inspire these cooks. And with that being said, there's only one more thing, y'all. This one is going straight to the horse's mouth. We'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace. Why can't Taco Tuesday be every day?